everybody. Welcome in. It is a Monday edition of the Texans Collective here on YouTube. Great to be with all of you. The regular season is over, but we get to doing these shows because we get playoff football here in Houston. After an 0-3 start, the Texans a 12-5 finish on the season, 12-2 in their last 14 games, and of course a 9-game winning streak down the stretch. We're going to get into all of that this evening here on YouTube. Great to be with you. I'm Sean Pendergast, one half of Payne and Pendergast on Sports Radio 610, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. weekdays, joined by Landry Locker, of course, of The Locker Room, as you can see on the neon sign right there. Landry Locker, of course, of SNL as well. Reggie Atatula in the loop, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sports Radio 610, and Cody Stutes, Houston football with Cody Stutes, and of course of SNL as well, alongside Landry Locker. Great to be with all of you tonight. And the Texans, on the heels of a 38-30 win over the Indianapolis Colts, they sealed the 5 seed. And we're going to get into the playoff ramifications, the Steelers, the game yesterday, concerns, all of those things, as you can see on the menu on the side of the screen right there. But guys, it's great to be with all of you tonight. Before we get into the chat here, hit us with a like, hit us with a subscribe. Download the Prize Picks app, use the promo code Texans. We'll get into all that as we roll on with the show here. But man, this is really, really fun here in early January. Only 14 teams get to do this right now. Only 14 YouTube channels get to do this right now. Sit here and talk about playoff football in their respective cities. And the Texans coming in as one of the hottest teams into the playoffs with 9 wins in a row, tying a franchise record. How does this feel? All 4 of us have been through phases with the Texans here where they've entered the postseason before. This is the 9th trip to the postseason that the Texans have had. The first one where they'll be starting out on the road. And ironically enough, they've had the other 8 starting at home. This 9th one might be the one where I feel the best about the chances for this team to make a deep postseason run.
Yeah, it's different for sure. I mean, it's not the Saturday. It's the first time in franchise history. It's a Monday night game, and you're facing an opponent that I think you wanted to face. So I think the one thing that the Texans will not be able to do, they're not going to be able to really play the underdog card. It's not going to be an us against them. They can do that themselves, but I think this is, Sean, that you ask about what's different. I think the biggest difference is this is the most love. I said this to Stutes earlier, and I think this is the most love the Texans have gotten heading into the postseason. And obviously Matt Schaub was hurt when they had their best squad, but even when they had really, really good teams, it seemed like there was always a but early on. I think this is the most love they're getting. I think they're definitely a dark horse pick. And I think it's definitely different. And by dark horse, I mean common dark horse pick. This is just a different feel. It feels completely different. But it does feel like they could lose to anyone and they could beat anyone, but it's definitely not what we're used to as far as the logistics and as far as the overall vibe, feel, conversation about the team.
Yeah, they could lose to anybody. They could beat anybody, as is the AFC playoffs and to a slightly lesser degree, the NFC playoffs. I'm sure Roger Goodell, he's just making money hand over fist, not really doing much. The NFL just keeps making this happen. But yeah, man, I find this to be a fascinating iteration of the Texans, if for no other reason than we can argue about the style of play that they've selected, but they've done a lot to try and make themselves that style of play. Like, they've built this infrastructure to make it so that they do this as best as they possibly could within what they've decided to do. There's still questions as to like whether that's going to happen. I think that this is a very interesting matchup, even if I believe them very much better than the Steelers, to kind of test that, because if there's a team that enjoys being in the muck in the way that the Texans do, it is these Pittsburgh Steelers. But no, I'm very confident, if for no other reason, and if we can make it very simple, they have the best unit that they've ever had in franchise history. And when it comes to the playoffs, like things like excellence like that is the type of thing that I think carries you through.
Well, what I like is they had that tough start. It kind of eliminated some of their margin for error, and then they didn't error down the stretch. I mean, they won 9 straight, and they went into the final game of the season, and they got the second best outcome that they could have gotten with the 5 seed and playing Pittsburgh. Now, playing Pittsburgh was out of their control, but they locked up the 5 seed and didn't get any help to try to go and get that 3 seed. But I like how they finished. I like how they finished the season. This defense still has a couple of things that maybe they can point to when they go into film and when they go and look and say, hey, we got to be this much better if we're going to go where we want to go in playoffs. And they seem, I don't know that I'm totally on board, they seem pretty happy with how things have gone on offense over the past 5 or 6 weeks or so. Certainly since C.J. Stroud has returned, they've had some nice offensive moments. Had some moments where you probably want a little bit more, but I think to Reggie's point is the style of boxing, so to speak, that they've opted to play with, they feel pretty good about it.
I think, if we're talking about the 9-game winning streak, the other Texans team, the only other team to come back from an 0-3 start to make the playoffs was that 2018 team, which also had the 9-game winning streak as part of their resume to get to 11-5 that season. This one feels so different to me than that particular team. Like this Texans team set the record for point differential in franchise history. That Texans team in 2018 was winning games by breaking Alex Smith's leg, having Denver miss a field goal at the end of the game, pick sixes by Jonathan Joseph against Buffalo, overtime wins against the Colts and the Cowboys in that streak. This streak, not every game's been dominant, obviously. There's a clear formula with this team that when they win, it's the defense dominating, the offense just not messing up. But this just feels different in terms of the teams that they've beaten along the way. Even a team like the Chiefs, it's not a playoff team. That win feels significant with this team because of what the Chiefs meant to this Texans team through the last few seasons. So I feel like I feel this 9-game winning streak feels like a strong winning streak coming into the postseason here. I feel like Davis Mills being the one to start this winning streak with 3 wins is significant for this team, just in terms of what it means about just finding ways to get things done. I'm really excited to see where this goes, because that combined with the haphazard nature of the AFC right now, I can't remember a 1, 2, and 3 seed that collectively the football world feels less enthusiastic about than Denver, New England, and Jacksonville in the AFC. I feel like anything is possible in this postseason right now.
Well, and I also think they're more healthy. I mean, we can point to specific areas, and we can talk about D-line depth, we can talk about safety, but I think this is a very healthy team. That wasn't the case last year, to the point where they felt comfortable enough to rest Nico Collins on Sunday. I don't think you could comfortably do that last year. You damn sure couldn't when Diggs and Dell were gone. So I think as far as health, I think if you line up the state of their roster, relatively speaking, with health, I don't count Joe Mixon, because I don't think we ever at any point expected him to play this season. But I think health-wise, they're really, really healthy. My interesting thing, though, I know we're not going to talk about this game, and we're not really going to break it down too much, but I do think their approach was interesting, in that if they decide to treat the second half like a preseason game, like they did, and I don't know why they did. Maybe they had a healthy amount of fear of Baltimore. Maybe like us, they thought that going to Baltimore was the worst option of all the potential matchups, which I would understand them thinking. I think there's a 70 point differential when Lamar Jackson starts against a DeMeco Ryans team. But if what happened last night happens and the Texans approach that, I think we're sitting here asking like some weird questions. Like, okay, so you gave away an opportunity to go play Pittsburgh and that stuff. And now if you do win your first 2 games, there's a chance that you're going to have to go to Buffalo for the AFC Championship game. And I actually think Buffalo has their hands full with Jacksonville. But I did think that the approach to yesterday's game was really, really interesting. Now, it all makes sense now. And they gave us the context clues because they rested Nico and they received. I think they received because they knew their starters were not going to play the second half. Jawar Jordan didn't return. Maybe that was another sign of the starters not playing in the second half. But I did find the approach yesterday, not to get too off track, Sean, I found it a little bit interesting.
No, without question. Like I actually would like to talk about the approach as well. There's still things within this where you go, these are the margin shorteners that scare me in the playoffs as much as I can be scared with this team. You still see weird things happening at the end of the first half. I still would like you to go ahead and when you win that toss, make that decision, make it be plain in the same way where you take the football, or sorry, you defer regardless. Because did they know that this game was going to be out of hand at the second half? If they did, then it doesn't make sense as to why you go out and start the way that you do. Like, I think this is more in line with, we have questions about how D'Amico and the entirety of the staff handles some of these things the way that they do. And so with that being the case, I had those questions, but I appreciated the idea that they went and tried to win it, because that's what they have been this year. And that's, especially when they've been the best, is that they are going to play with the level of reckless abandon. It's actually just kind of, I don't know if it's a microcosm or what have you, macrocosm. I don't even know if that's a word. I'm just making stuff up on the fly here. But the idea for them is,
I like it.
The idea for them is we play fast, we play physical, and I think in the same way, it's like we play free. Like, we go out and we put ourselves in the fullness of what we're doing here, and that is, this is a Week 18 game. That is an opponent, so we go play football. And I think that with how much the propaganda gets down all the way down the hierarchy, I think that is necessary to maintain the playoff style approach that they've had for the last 9 weeks, and that they want to continue on for the next 4 or 5.
Well, I mean, it was a preseason approach, though, in the second half. I know they tried to actually win, but that was a preseason approach. I mean, we saw British Brooks, by the way, add another one to the list of guys that are better than Nick Chubb at running the football on this team. But, yeah, I mean, yes. But
he read his blocks.
Yeah, I do wonder. Like, it was an interesting approach. I don't know. Maybe they just didn't want to go to Baltimore, because at that time Baltimore was the ideal opponent. They weren't going to just like lay down, but it was a preseason approach in the third and fourth quarter.
I do feel like you were giving them a little bit too much credit from like a big picture look ahead standpoint, because I would simply say, once D'Amico Ryans looked up or had somebody tell him on the sidelines that the Tennessee Titans possessed no chance and no ability to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, he seemed, with his actions, content to be the 5th or the 6th seed. It seemed like he did not have any sort of big differentiator in his mind between being the 5th seed, playing the AFC North champion, or being the 6th seed, and in all likelihood, playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't believe for a second D'Amico Ryans, if he knew them, cared about the different machinations that could play out post this next game. I do think that the tunnel vision element of, we can't win the division, whatever happens, happens. We'll play football wherever we need to go play football. We know at this point, because Jacksonville has won, we're going to go on the road. Wherever we go is where we go. I feel very strongly that that was their approach coming out of halftime, saying, yeah, if we have a chance to win the division, we're going to keep the gas down. We don't have a chance to win the division. Wherever we go, we go.
I think there's part of D'Amico, too, that feels like, you know what? Our second string guys can go win this game against Riley Leonard, who's a rookie quarterback, who at halftime had probably way overachieved for what you think he would do for 60 minutes in a game. They would be wrong, because he had another 140 yards passing in the second half of this game, like he did in the first half of this game. I completely disagreed with D'Amico Ryan's strategy as to how he handled this game. I think there's a big difference, and I thought this when I was sitting there in the press box, between the 5 seed and the 6 seed in the AFC. This is before knowing that Pittsburgh was going to win that game. Ultimately, I think just the mere chance of playing Pittsburgh, who I think is the clear choice of the team that you want to play if you're going to go on the road as a wild card team in the AFC, was worth keeping some starters in there, at the very least keeping your starting quarterback in there that might be able to generate more than 3 field goals on short fields there, like Davis Mills did. I completely disagree with the strategy. It ended up working out because they won the football game, but that doesn't mean that I absolve him of using a strategy that I think was completely ratchet for what you're trying to accomplish in the postseason here. To me, there's a big difference, and was a big difference at that time, between the 5 and the 6 in the AFC.
No, I agree, and it did go their way, so there is that. But I mean, if it falls apart and we're sitting here saying, "Damn, they could have played the Pittsburgh Steelers," and instead they're going to Jacksonville, don't think you're like too sad about Jacksonville. You feel like you have a chance, but you'd much rather play Pittsburgh than Jacksonville. I think we can all agree with that, at least in the first round.
And it's worth noting, too, in addition to all these other various small to large lucky things that have happened for them in this win streak and even over the course of the season, they also got lucky in this football game as well, because the best player for the opposing team during the game casually slightly bumped the referee, and the referee sent his ass away.
Looked like a big shove to me, Cody. Looked
yeah.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
I fully believe that the Jamarcus Ingram, Tremont Smith, Kevon Wallace, Miles Bryant defensive backfield would have lost that football game had Alec Pierce remained in the football game. So again, as we sit here and think, about how that regular season played out, where they got to where they got, and some of the lucky things that happened with extra points and missed field goals, that official having a embarrassment moment where he accidentally bumped a player and then decided to eject the player, that went a long way into making sure they're the 5th seed instead of the 6th seed as well.
Yeah, whatever happened to white privilege in America. But anyways, with that being the case, I hear you, Sean, but I think that you are using the outside perspective compared to what is, I will affectionately, and I will again say affectionately call kind of meathead logic, which is when we have something to play for, we play football. When we no longer have something to play for, we get ready for the next time we play football. And that has worked for them. I would be with you if it had not worked for them to the degree that it has. It has worked for them, and it's actually very vital to the mentality that they bring. That violence, that way that they like the meathead style of like playing football is the essence of what makes this thing incredible. I thought Tyler Dunn wrote a fantastic piece about that, really getting to the bottom of it. And we've seen it time in and time out. That's the way that this defense works, and that's the way that this team works. I can't put it any different.
So I should embrace a fucking meathead style of living my life?
Buddy, they beat me into submission this year. They beat me into submission this year. I'm here on the meathead lifestyle. I'm full keto.
You're the least meathead person I know. This is
and here I am, man. Here I am.
This is depressing to me. Oh shit! All right, so the Texans have won 9 in a row. I think we hit that one pretty good. The big one last thing: schedule cliffhanger for the month of May when the schedule release rolls around. We get to find out who the week 1 opponent is that the Texans try to break the franchise record against for longest win streak in franchise history, because those are all regular season things, right? So that'll be a topic when we're sitting here doing this 4-way chat on May the 3rd, and we're previewing the schedule release, and we're gonna preview the fucking schedule release because I love the schedule release.
I love the schedule too. Schedule's awesome.
We know who they're gonna play. They're gonna get the Bills at home for the 3rd straight year somehow. We know this.
Yeah, it's just a formula, Reggie. It's not a conspiracy.
That's my thing. It's a formula, and we are always amazed. Like, whoa! What?
So that'll be the cliffhanger for the schedule.
How does the playoff game not count towards the win streak?
Don't ask me. That's how these records work. They're all regular season things.
What kind of parameters?
Where the fuck have you been all these years? These are all regular. You act like you just started watching sports.
This is like, Sean, a few years ago, you and I got into an argument about how many sacks Whitney Merciless had in a season. And you were like, well, he only had like 4.5 in the regular season. I was like, yeah, but he had 5 in 3 playoff games or 2 playoff games or whatever it was. I was like, so he had 9 for the season. And you were like, well, no, this season is the regular season.
It is.
And he had 4 in the playoffs. So I was but Cody, if I was his agent, I'm going to say he had 9 sacks.
Cody, take it up with customer service. This is how it works, all right? Keep your receipt. Take it up with customer service. My favorite Whitney Merciless, by the way, just real quick, my favorite Whitney Merciless sack take ever is by John McClain, when I think he was trying to like justify one of the 2 or 3 contracts that Whitney got somewhere along the way, where John's like, had 9 sacks last year, had 5 called back by penalties. Every time. He must have said it. And John might even be watching this thing right now. John, if you're watching, I love you. But he must have said it. If he said it 5 times, he said it 50 times on the triple threat. Whitney had 9 sacks last year and had 5 called back by penalties. Okay. Yeah, he had 9 sacks. What the fuck? So anyways, all right. Let's move on to the 5 seed here as we look at the menu here on the side of the screen. I saw an article in The Athletic today. I think it was Mike Sando, because there were several anonymous executive quotes, and nobody's better at getting anonymous executives to say things on/off the record than Mike Sando of The Athletic, where he said, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have it in front of me here, something along the lines of that you'd rather have, if you're the Texans, you'd rather be the 5 seed playing old ass Aaron Rodgers than have won the division and then have to host Buffalo, which is what it probably would have been in the first round at home. This, despite the fact that the Texans have turned Josh Allen into a different version of Josh Allen every time at NRG Stadium. And I think I kind of agree with that. I don't know how it's going to all play out in the AFC, but at least in terms of just like trying to survive in advance here, I kind of agree with that, actually.
Yeah, I think it's 100%. Yeah.
To quote, you have Rodgers at 42, Cam Hayward is 36, TJ Watt hardly makes plays except when the ball lands in his belly like it did on Sunday night. Yeah. Those three guys are just about shot. I think Houston chokes them out. Close quote.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep. Thank you, Reggie.
I think he's right. I mean, I think we've been saying that. We've been talking about the layout. I think he's 100% right on that. I couldn't agree more with the notion. I think most people would agree with that.
Which friend of Casario said that? which one of D'Amico Ryan's buddies said that?
Chokes him out.
Acted like Cam Hayward at his advanced football age can't go out there and just easily move some of these offensive linemen out of the way. Acting like it's just a lock that Trent Brown, and I like Trent Brown. You're not going to find a bigger Trent Brown fan than me. That Trent Brown's going to go out there and just shut down TJ Watt. I'd
Literally.
like to know which one of those anonymous executives that is and how close they are. Do they get a Christmas card from the Ryans and the Casarios? Good Lord.
I will say, as much as we're making this about the Steelers themselves, I think you're right to do that. I could take the Steelers out of this. Give me the 5 seed, period, because as we've talked about, anybody can win in this AFC right now, but anybody can lose. And if you can't get the home game in the wild card round, see if you can get in the divisional round. I'm looking at all these games, and there's an easy way. I can very easily see 5, 6, and 7 all getting wins, and then you're back at NRG Stadium in another week's time. Absolutely.
To add to it too, I also think that there's an advantage to 8 days of rest. I mean, they've already shown that rest is kind of a priority. It's kind of their approach. So Kamari Lassiter, extra days of rest. Trent Brown, extra days of rest. Everybody else, like extra days of rest are a thing. And I think it lays out perfectly for them to the point where I think D'Amico was a little bit sassy today. And I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that they haven't done their normal preparation. They know nothing about the Steelers right now. They haven't even started it. This is basically like a Sunday for D'Amico Ryans. And then I'm sure they're getting a little bit of a head start, but it's better to be playing on Monday than it would have been on Sunday or Saturday.
Counterpoint, we had Henry To'o on the postgame show yesterday, and he came in during a break. So we were talking for a few minutes before we went on the air. And I told him, I said, you guys are probably going to play on Monday night. You know that because it's going to be a 4 versus 5. He's like, really? And I said, yeah, you guys are probably going to play on a Monday night. He hated the notion of playing on a Monday night. And I don't know how much he reflects how the rest of the team feels. I'm just giving you one player's perspective. I don't think I'm sharing government secrets or anything here. He said that he hates sitting around for extra days waiting for the game. He likes the short week on the back end of a Monday Night Football game more than he likes the long week on the front end of a Monday Night Football game.
And that, yes, quite frankly, if you asked Henry To'o on yesterday when you had him on post, when would you want to play? He would say Monday night. Oh, you mean tomorrow? Yes, hell yes, let's go. Like he wants to play sooner rather than later. And I think there are a lot of guys on this team. Like I think Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll, I think they could play headers if you asked them to, like the young guys. But when I talk about rest, I'm talking about Trent Brown. I'm talking about Nico Collins. I'm talking about these other guys. But I think Henry To'o for sure would play 3 games tomorrow a week if you asked him to. Yeah. We'll see how. Let's talk to him when he has the mileage that Trent Brown has, and see if he's foaming out the mouth.
Yeah, pretty easy for a guy who hadn't been on the injury report since like week 4 to be like, yeah, we don't need the extra day.
Why are you making Henry To'o sound like an asshole right now? All right.
No, he's far from that. He's just a whippersnapper that still got a lot of tread left on the tires.
That's true. No, you're right.
There is one element of the 5 seed that Reggie brought up that I kind of want to expand on. You have the 5 seed. If you have to play Buffalo, if you believe them to be a big bad in this playoff picture, which, I mean, you talk about experience and talent of quarterback. Not many people in the entire playoffs are matching up to what Buffalo is bringing to the table. If you have the 5 seed, if you have to play the big bad, you have to play them at your place, either in the divisional round or there exists a scenario where you could host them for the AFC Championship game. So, like, if they are the big bad, if you have to play them, you have to play them at your place where it's much easier to deal with than having to go to Buffalo and God knows what, Mother Nature would put on that. Plus, that stadium's done in Buffalo. They're never playing a game there again.
Yeah.
So, like, not only would it have been a playoff game, but it would have been like, oh, it's the last game at this stadium. Like, you'd have had that. You'd have had those drunkards going through 4 tables at a time instead of 2 tables at a time. Like, so it'd have been a rowdier crowd than you could have even expected. So I love that element of the 5 seed too, which, kind of brings us back to, well, why didn't they really want that 5 seed as much as they kind of showed it? They ended up with it.
They should have also lost their franchise once they laid out that new stadium plan. For there not to be an indoor option on that in Buffalo.
You hate that.
They should have lost their franchise, honestly. Like, if you want to open the roof when kickoff starts, cool. But like letting the snow just get all over the place to where you have like local ass residents like shoveling snow before the game and stuff.
Don't worry about that. The snow's not. There's cantilevers over the seats. There's not going to be snow over the. Snow doesn't go sideways, does it?
Landry, in your perfect world, would there be, I guess, 30, not 32, because you got the New York, LA thing. Would there be 30 indoor stadiums in the NFL?
If you want to build a new stadium, it has to have a new indoor option. If you want
a yes. That's a yes. Like, eventually, they're all going to build new stadiums eventually. So maybe by 2090, but by then, when you're sitting here at 130 years old, when we're all sitting here with organs that we've got from some cyborg somewhere and we're all living to be 150, you want 30 indoor NFL football stadiums.
Yeah, if you want to open the roof when it's -8, go ahead. But I mean, it has to at least be an option. And this is the other thing that bothers me. I think there's it's real ridiculous that heat and cold don't get the same amount of treatment. Like, here in hot weather cities, like we'll put the roof up when it's 98 or 100 degrees for you, but when it's -6, it's no big deal. Let's just go out there and hang out. And people say, well, that's real football. Dude, I see the ticket prices for even Chiefs games whenever it's freezing. You can get in the stadium for like $32.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like it's absolutely crazy. Like, one of their playoff games, I think it was last year, like you could get in for like $45, and that's like the Chiefs. So yeah, gotta have it.
Bring me the I don't know. I'm signing on to that petition. I am. I hate the football.
You're part of the Landry doctrine.
100%. Like, that's so dumb. All right, you know what I want to see? The best iteration of football. And currently we have legislated this out so that the game that you play in fall is a passing game, and then you get to January and February, and then there's snow on the ground. Bleep that, man. In fact, you know what? Let me take that back. Fuck that, man. That's stupid as hell.
Here you go, Reggie.
Oh, cash your first F-bomb with Reggie tickets, folks.
Yeah.
I think it's fifth. I got the stats. I think it's 5.
Oh, I was saying first today, I think.
Oh, okay,
thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, Cody, before we get into concerns for the Texans and a bit of a look ahead to the Steelers, would you like to tell the people about Prize Picks?
I certainly would. Prize Picks is daily fantasy. You're making predictions on stats, putting them together in your entry, and sometimes you don't have to get all of them correct to win, but if you do, you win even more. And then sometimes you have the Texans Collective, who's on the scoreboard with a victory last week.
Dude, am I the one there that has a non-bar because I took Nico scoring a touchdown?
Correct. Nico didn't play.
My second choice was going to be Jaden Higgins scoring a touchdown.
Nico did not play, but they took that out, lowered our overall chance or your overall payout, but we won because Riley Leonard and Jaden Higgins took care of their business. That's how simple it is to play Prize Picks. You're putting a couple of statistical predictions together, more or less, on rush yards or receiving yards or various other elements like touchdowns. It's so easy and so fun, and you can see it right there. More or less on passing yards. You put them together, you put 3, 4, 5, and the chances for payout just go up and up and up. As you do that, use our code Texans when you get signed up at Prize Picks, Texans when you get signed up, and that will give you a $50 bonus after you play your first 5. So use the code Texans when you get signed up with Prize Picks.
You can even drop a little, like tonight, you could drop a little KD in there as well. Like they got basketball, they got baseball, they got everything.
It is not just football. It is college football, pro football, hockey, basketball, baseball when it gets back. And you can go cross sport. You want to go some basketball with some baseball? Be my guest. Get a little crazy with it. Have a little fun.
Good stuff. It's good stuff. Yeah. Promo code Texans. Get it done.
Texans. Yep.
Promo code Texans. Do we have some people in the chat we want to hit, Cody?
Yeah, one super chat here from Von Clutch. Christian Kirk had 1 catch for a -3 yards. What's this? That's all he had. That's all he wanted to know.
What's this?
What's this?
We've all been asking the same.
That is a like a Phil Leotardo quote right there from The Sopranos. Like, what's this? What's this? It's Christian Kirk. What's the? You know what that is? Whatever. This is my hope. Whatever snaps you look at the snap counts after the games. Whatever snaps Christian Kirk is getting, add them to Jalen Knowles' snaps, and that's the snaps Jalen Knowles getting next year.
Yeah, but I would like that to be
that's
this
my
year.
hope.
Christian Kirk hasn't brought any of the things that I was hoping that he would bring as a veteran presence.
Like 1 catch a game. That's it. Like,
by the way, Tank Dell, the last Texans receiver to have 1 catch for -3. So this is not, this has happened. There is now a streak. There is a 2-year streak of Texans receivers having 1 catch for -3 yards. He did it on September 15th.
Okay.
Yeah, but Tank is our guy. He's a Houston cat. Like, I mean, I guess Christian, he around here, but hey, man.
And I love the fact that Tank is an injured guy who's around the team all the time. He's in like when D'Amico's doing his post-game speeches, there's Tank over there in his hoodie, standing there, like, doing his, just standing there watching. They take all the starters out, and there's Tank standing there next to CJ, and they're looking up at the Jumbotron there doing their thing. What do you guys make of all the Tank tweets that are going on right now?
Which ones?
The ones that are talking about like how he's climbing a mountain or that God is great or all these things that are supposed to mean he's going to fucking play football again. That's how I read them.
I think it's kind of disrespectful to him to even like put that out there. I think it's good that he's in good spirits, but I mean, the dude tore multiple ligaments and basically had a bone go through his knee. And you're talking about him playing football this year. I've said this 100 times when it comes to Tank. If he goes out at training camp and we're all sitting by each other watching training camp and Tank Dell goes out there and just participates in stretches, that's an accomplishment. It's a physical accomplishment with what he went through. So I don't know. It's that he's got his spirits up. He'll be trying to make the team next year. And so that's really how I look at the Tank Dell thing. But anything other than that, I think it's kind of disrespectful to the reality of what he went through and what the situation is.
Yeah. We'll see you at maybe OTAs, and if not training camp, we'll see what happens. I will remind everybody, though, that many months ago, Aaron Wilson reported that Tank is expected to make a full recovery. So keep that in the back of your mind.
Okay.
I will let that sit where it is.
Hey, bro. Alpha Aaron here.
The only y'all wrong for that. The only addition that I will add is a tweet from Denny Carter. All right. A typical quarterback tweet. Love my teammates. God is good. Running back tweet. Keep grinding. Tight end tweet. Dirt. And a wide receiver tweet. The enemy speaks kindly and holds a knife. These are how these dudes do things, right? Like this is just, that's how they live. This is how they live. So what do we make of all those? He is a wide receiver in the National Football League.
Wideouts do love them some wideouts. That's
what I mean? Like this is how they tweet. This is how they interact.
Oh man, that is beautiful. All right, as we roll on here, Pittsburgh, the Steelers against the Texans Monday night. Texans are a 3-point favorite in this game. We'll get to the Steelers specifically in just a little bit. But as far as concerns for this team, look, this is a team where D'Amico has spent more time the last 4 weeks, I feel like, pissed off about the team than he spent happy about the team through a 9-game winning streak. For you guys, what are your biggest concerns right now for this team as they head into the postseason?
Intermediate passing and just some of the stuff that the Steelers are actually quite capable of exposing in certain stretches. I think Gainwell in the slot kind of concerns me a little bit. I think Warren's kind of an underrated back once he gets in space. They got a tight end that can do some damage. That's really my concern when it comes to the Steelers. But I also think that Aaron Rodgers, there's a real big possibility you can make Aaron Rodgers extremely uncomfortable and not be able to get away from things. I think you can
the scramble to the right in the first half.
Or he just stopped when he was 10 yards ahead of the guy.
Where 3 years ago he would have run for a first down and he just stops 6 yards short of the 6.
He did
run, lets himself get tackled.
He ran to the left a little bit later and extended it. But yeah, there's potential. If you saw him against the Browns, I think Collinsworth brought it up. There's potential to make him very uncomfortable. But the intermediate passing and all that we've seen the Texans kind of struggle in is kind of the concern for me.
Are we talking about the concerns that we have with the Steelers, or the concerns just that we have with this team?
I just general concerns with the Texans.
Because I think that one of those popped up, which is, hey, Kayvon Wallace, we know that you've come up and you've done some good things. I need you to be on your P's and Q's, dot your I's, cross your T's, because you can't let these coverage busts happen, especially not against the Steelers, who is a team that is completely comfortable with being in the darkness that is. We just going to play this game and we're going to roll this out until we need a big play. Right. And DK Metcalf on his way back. I don't know if he's any Alec Pierce, but, there you go. Right. Like, I think that those things can exist. And if I was building a game plan, not that I'm anybody's game planner, I go, hey, in a defense that has Kamari Lassiter and Derek Stingley and, Kalen Bullock back there ranging, who's that number 38 guy? I want to try and see what he's on. Like, I think that that's one of the things that I have questions about. On top of that, when we talk about Kamari Lassiter and some of the nagging injuries, I know that he's hard to take off the field. What happens in an instance, knock on wood, God forbid, that he has to step off the field? And here we go to the depth that we were just so very much praising in this Colts game. I say that, of course, tongue in cheek. Like, I think that those are the things that I immediately think of when you talk about the superpowers Landry calls it for the defense.
Yeah, depth certainly a concern. I think depth would be a concern for a lot of teams at this point of the year. So I don't think it's a Texans exclusive, but we've seen how bad the depth can look. So it is certainly worrisome if any of those starters are out. I think it's the explosive play, like, in general, because I do not see a lot of teams capable of putting together 8, 9, 10, 12-yard play, 12-yard plays and drives of those, long drawn-out drives against this defense. But, Mac Jones can heave it up in the air to Juwan Jennings and knock it on the goal line and then sling one in the middle to George Kittle and put points on the board. Ashton Genty can get loose, take it 60 in the air and 50 on the ground to the house and put points on the board. Alec Pierce is another one. So it's like there's still that given moment where, hey, the Texans are going to play low-scoring games. Mm-hmm. So the opponent being 2 plays away from putting points on the board because of a tiny mistake here or there from and allowing an explosive play, like, that is a little scary for me. And it's shown up probably too much in the past 5-6 weeks. When it has shown up, it's probably shown up too much.
Yeah, I saw you write about that, Cody, in the email that you sent out. And I thought you were spot on with that. I thought the same thing. There were people are talking about, like, the second half against the Colts. That was just backups or whatever. They gave up 17 points in the first half to a Riley Leonard quarterback team. And there were, throughout the entire game, not just the 60-yard play or 66, whatever it was, to Pierce. There were a lot of 15, 20, and 30-yard plays in that game. And that's been happening more in the second, really in the last third of the season than there had been. My biggest concern along those lines, because I think it falls into the same category, is I feel like this defense is built on, like, the 4 pillars of the 2 defensive ends and the 2 cornerbacks. That's what allows you to do everything that you do defensively. That's what allows you to line up and not have to blitz and just leave it up to coverage in the back. These guys are so next level at what they do. Kamari Lassiter, Derek Stingley, Danielle Hunter, and Will Anderson. And that's my concern is probably more about the 2 corners than the 2 defensive ends, because there's been no sign of Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter having any sort of physical limitations or anything like that. Will's probably been on the injured list a couple times this year or whatever, but he plays. Danielle's the superhero. Derek Stingley's been dealing with shit all year. Kamari Lassiter is definitely dealing with shit right now, or he would have been playing in that game on Sunday. That's my biggest concern, is you lose one of those guys And now all of a sudden, like the structure that your defense is built around and being able to be as dominant, you'll still be good without one of those guys. Like you'll still, you're not going to start giving up 35 points a game. But especially with the corners, that's my biggest concern is that what's the solution behind those guys? I feel like there's solutions along. You lose one of those guys, you throw Danico Autry in there, and you'll probably still be pretty good on the defensive line with Will Anderson and Danico Autry, or Daniil Hunter and Danico Autry, along with all the try-hard guys that they have there. That secondary is a big concern. You're already dealing with Kevon Wallace being a starting safety for your team. So that's probably my biggest concern is what if something happens to Stingley or Lassiter? Because your defense is going to be the formula to make a long run. That's it. That's your strength.
And I think it might be as simple as I don't know if evolving is the word, because I think D'Amico's obviously an elite head coach, but I think right now what the Texans do on defense is that they're not doing anything tricky. They're not running any stunts. They're by far the team that stunts the least. They don't blitz as much, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you have two really good corners and two really good DNs, so you don't necessarily need to. Yep. The problem is if Lassiter doesn't play or if Will or Daniil aren't out there, do you still play that same style? That's really kind of the question that I wonder. And we've seen D'Amico willing to evolve. And I think the best example of it is 2023, where Amari Cooper stuck his foot in their ass in the regular season.
Yeah.
And then they decided to have Stingley shadow him after that performance, because originally it was, we don't do that. That was the exact quote from D'Amico, is that's not what we do. And then he did it. So I'm with you. If you do have to go without Lassiter, that could be a problem. That's why I'm so happy that he was able to rest. And I think the example I point to when it comes to rest is it was very clear Woody Marks needed a week off. He might not have wanted the week off, but it was very clear that he needed the week off. And I think we've seen since he came back after that week off, we've seen the way that he's run the ball. And I don't know that they win the last two games without the manner in which Woody Marks has been able to run the ball, and I think the rest kind of contributed. So I think Kamari Lassiter is probably going to be the best version of himself for sure. I think it was very necessary rest.
I think it's also funny we all went to like defensive things when, hey, the offense is here, and they've had the long stretches where they don't score points, and they had 6 field goals in this game, a lot of those in the second half. Yeah, those things still exist, right? Are your tackles going to be able to hold up? And now that we have sorted out the wheat from the chaff, right? These are just good football teams in the playoffs, so you're going to have to deal with that. One of the real banes of the existence of this offense is them stepping on their own feet. Hello, drive killing penalties. Welcome to week 18, right? Like, I think that those are the things that I look up again. And if the whole mantra, the whole recipe is built on defense holds it down, offense don't mess things up, there are small little creaks and openings of, hey, you can mess that up if you're having penalties in this way. You can mess that up if you're not actually, sustaining blocks on the offensive line. Those are the things that I think also need to be mentioned at some point here.
Yeah, and the offense, I think it is funny. Go ahead, Sid. Sorry.
Well, they're going to lose any game in the playoffs where CJ Stroud's not a good quarterback that day. Like, they don't have the everything around him and his performances when he hasn't been good. It's just you're going to lose those games. So he has to be consistent. He has to be good at worst on any of these playoff games that they play, and they have to find ways to not only get points on the board, which is difficult for them because they settle for a lot of field goals. 2011 was when David Akers had 44 field goals made. The Texans are in the same spot as where the San Francisco 49ers that year were in red zone conversion percentage and some of these other stats that just kind of show you it's not the best offense in the world. Like, the quarterback has to be good, because if CJ has an off day, there's no, there's next week, maybe he can get it done. It's go home if he has an off day. So I think there's a little bit of let's dial it up here, because he's entering the playoffs. I mean, there's 8, maybe 9 different guys that are in the playoffs, NFC and AFC, that I would very easily pluck that guy off that team, throw him on the Texans, and feel much better about the Texans' chances. So, like, let's go see what the quarterback can do to not only extend the ceiling, but keep the floor high for this defense or for this offense as well.
And I think that's the conversation that I think that needs to be had. You mentioned the field goal record. I mean, I don't I don't know if you're supposed to be proud of that or not. It's good to have a guy that's capable of it in Fairbairn. I don't think anyone's complaining about that, but I don't think that's like necessarily something that most teams strive to have. And if you look at the company, you mentioned Akers. The year after that, they felt like they needed to upgrade a quarterback. Like Alex Smith, they brought it and it added a whole new element to their offense. The Cowboys, they're in that company too. That was when Dak Prescott missed over half the season. So it's really like it's a situation where the quarterback is going to take you as far as you can go. I wouldn't be shocked to see CJ. This is the best way I can say it. I wouldn't be shocked to see CJ flip the switch. I wouldn't be shocked to see CJ wet the bed. That's how I feel right now about the quarterback situation heading into this. But you're 100% right. And I think when you tie an all-time NFL record, usually it's like, oh, that's awesome. This one's kind of like, hey, okay.
Yeah. It got no run. You know what I mean? Like it got like I found out by checking AI on Sunday when I was writing my Houston press column. I do 4 winners and 4 losers, and I'm like, well, Kaimi's got to be a winner. He kicked 6 field goals. And then you do AI like, oh, what about this game? Like, what was significant about this performance here? And they're like, he tied the record for most field goals in an NFL. Think about any other record. If they tied it for most in a season, it would be something that they would be talking about on Sunday Countdown for like the 3 weeks leading up to that. This is like, oh, by the way, he tied the record for most field goals in a season. Parentheses, his red zone offense of the team he's on fucking sucks. That's what it is. We have Cal and Hannah coming on our show tomorrow. And I think I'm going to make a request of them that we stop shooting off the cannon on any field goals that are in goal to go situations. I was going to do red zone, but I think I don't want to get greedy. I think in goal to go situations, when you stall inside the 10-yard line and you kick a field goal and they fire off the cannons, that has to stop. That cannot be anymore. That's not success. You fire cannons for success. It's the rules. It's been the rules since the Revolutionary fucking War. That's when you fire the cannons for success. That's not success.
Well, you fire the cannons to hit somebody with a cannonball. But I mean, did you not see missing field goals hurt you, man? Come on now. The field goal went through.
No, man. No, I can't believe you're saying this, Reggie. You're
I'm defending the people that are not treated like people.
You're disappointing me right now. You kick a field goal from 28 yards. That means you failed from the, whatever it is. Well, I'm doing the math here, like the 9-yard line or whatever.
Right.
That can't be. We can't have that anymore. It's a new era. It's a swarm era. I don't know if you guys have heard. We're swarming now. Not swarming. Yeah. So that'll be the big thing about the interview tomorrow. They're probably in there to talk about something else with me, but I'm here to accomplish a goal tomorrow. So, hey, before we get out, it is the Steelers and the Texans. The Texans are favored by 3 points in this game, which is wild when you consider some of the trends involved in this game. The Steelers have never lost a Monday Night Football game under Mike Tomlin. And I've heard that stat before. I just didn't realize it was 23. No, Monday Night Home game. Sorry. Monday Night Home game. 23-0 in Monday Night Home games. If I have that wrong, you guys tell me, but I think that's what it is. Texans are 0-6 on the road in the postseason. We know that all too well. That's not a crazy stat. The other one is that Mike Tomlin has not won a playoff game since 2016. So there's a lot of different, irresistible force meeting the immovable object things going on with this right now. I'll ask you guys, tell me one thing that you like about this matchup with the Steelers and one thing that scares you about this matchup with the Steelers.
One thing I like is their quarterback's old as hell, and you have ability to make quarterbacks extremely uncomfortable. That's the one thing I like. The one thing I don't like is the weather conditions and the fact that it's on grass, because you are so dependent on your kicker. And when I'm watching that game yesterday and I see a guy who's used to that surface missed an extra point for the first time in over 2 years, and then I see a guy miss a bunny to end the game. That kind of concerns me a little bit, because you are so dependent on your kicker. So that would be my feel good and feel bad about.
Yeah, that's a team over there that is very narrowly. Their path to victory is usually very narrow, and it's gotten even more narrow. Some of their favorite pieces are not there, like a Darnell Washington and stuff. The thing that I'm afraid of, I will lean into like the mysticism of this. Aaron bleeping Rodgers in a close game. You know what I mean? Like that the possibility of that actually happening would whip my entrails out. It would make me upset. I know that he is deathly afraid of holding on to the football when there's people that can actually get after him. But when the game gets late, he can still dial that up every once in a while, and that would piss me off to no end.
I don't know about last time Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, he wasn't yet 40 years old. So, I mean, the mysticism, Father Time's taking care of some of the mysticism for me. Yeah, he's not going to make a big mistake. He's never made huge mistakes. I mean, he will dirt one, though, when there's nothing around. Like Aaron Rodgers. I don't love the skill position players for the Steelers. I feel like if you can really start to lean on them, that's not a skill position group that's going to go out there and kick your ass. Like, yes, DK Metcalf's a nice player.
Gainwell's their team MVP, dude. Like that's a nice player, but that's their team MVP.
Like, let me talk about some of the names here. Marquise Valdez-Scantling, the ghost of Adam Thielen. They have 3 white wide receivers that constantly play. Like, how many teams are doing that?
Wow.
Racist.
Yeah. Wow.
Scotty Miller gets significant run for them. Scotty Miller was like a 32-team fantasy league like joke, 5 years ago. It's like, hey, maybe you should get Scotty Miller. Calvin Austin, the third. The first 2 Calvin Austins haven't heard of this guy. Like, he's
not white, just to be clear.
Sure. I'm not worried about their skill position guys like that. You should be able to lean on them. I'm worried about the defense leaning on this offense. I do like some of these players on defense. Cam Hayward is still very good, even though he's very old from a football standpoint. TJ Watt could still have a legendary performance and really jack some things up for you. And Patrick Queen, I know he's been a bit of a disappointment since he got that giant contract with them. But if you don't think he could be sitting there, stuffing this run game pretty early on in games, like I still worry about this defense.
This list, man? Good Lord, how long is this list of concerns? You gonna pick the Steelers?
Well, it's the defense. As I'm just pointing out the pieces of the defense. Yeah. You'd be killing me if I just said the defense. So I can't make you happy either way.
Reggie, we're at a therapy session right now. Let's just sit back.
Oh, is that the case?
Let's let the couple go after each other, right?
That is true.
Good. I think you missed the 3-tech though. Go ahead.
Harmon's very good. He was good at Oregon last year. He was a draft crush of mine.
Hey, he just told you to fuck off, Landry.
He had it in the bag.
That defensive end from Ohio State they have, Jack Sawyer, he's made a couple plays down the stretch. Yes. So
yeah.
Jalen Ramsey didn't get a mention, huh? Okay.
He sucks. I like throw at him. He sucks now.
Ramsey. Pro Bowl Jalen Ramsey. My apologies.
Jalen Ramsey sucked ass last night. I can tell you that right now. That Isaiah Likely catch on 4th down.
God bless him.
Oh.
God, I love that game so much.
Yeah, he's a Pro Bowler in front of Petrie and Bullock, which was horseshit.
Game's rigged, baby. Game's rigged.
Cody, you brought up a bunch of the names on the defensive line, and I'm with you. The physicality of their defensive line is something that I think could be a problem for the Texans' offensive line, for sure.
One more thing about the defense, sorry to add to it. They came into Week 18 with the same amount of turnovers forced as the Texans. Mm-hmm. So they will turn you over, too.
Yeah. TJ Watt is at like 25% right now. Like TJ Watt was on the sidelines at times last night with Mike Tomlin over there talking about whether or not he's able to kind of go back and beat TJ Watt. I know he had an interception in the game that kind of landed in his belly right there, but that's where I think we're far from the best version of TJ Watt, both in terms of the amount that he can play and the quality of play that you're getting out of him. So I think that's good. The Steelers defense was a bit of a clusterfuck at times in that Ravens game, like a lot of blown coverages in that game. I thought, as far as things I don't like, I'm not as dismissive of their running backs maybe as the rest of us are on the collective here. Like I think Jalen Warren and Gainwell, like I think they've done like Jalen Warren. I've watched some Steelers football over the second half of the season here, and certainly watched the whole game last night. Like the two of them, when there's not a lot of space, seem to find some space and get a lot of yards after contact. For two guys that don't look like much when you see them lined up in the backfield. So, the Texans are going to need to be on their tackling, I think, with both of those guys. So those are things that, and I'm with Landry too. Like for a team that relies on field goals so much for their scoring, like the Texans do, that's the worst stadium to be relying on field goals for a big part of your scoring. That's a big concern to me.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup, but it's one that you should expect to win. Like you should expect to win the game. So that's the beauty of it. I also do wonder that, Arthur Smith I think people would classify his Atlanta tenure as kind of a disaster. Maybe one of the worst losses of the DeMeco Ryans era, where Desmond Ridder went for 3,500 on the Texans. I know that CJ found Schultz first play after the 2-minute warning, but they ended up kind of having their way with the defense. That was Arthur Smith. And then Aaron Rodgers, I think the Jets' tenure was a disaster. He kind of had his way with DeMeco's defense on Halloween. So I know the last time that they met in the playoffs when Aaron Rodgers was in Green Bay, I think DJ Bieniemy texted out those stats. It didn't go well, but the recent times where Aaron Rodgers has seen DeMeco Ryans' Texans defense and Arthur Smith, despite the fact they were amidst disastrous eras, they did have a little bit of success. So is there something to that? What does that blend look like? I think that's probably something to keep an eye on too.
Yep. No doubt. All right, boys. So when are we doing this next week since the game's on Monday night?
Probably Tuesday.
Tuesday? All right. All right. We've had the numbers. We had good numbers tonight, man.
Nice.
Appreciate everybody jumping in here in the chat. Do we have anybody else we want to hit in the chat on our way out here, Cody? Or are we
No super chats. Hack-a-shack like my Calvin Austin joke. So that was good.
That was good.
It really be your own people, man. You just came out and let the chopper spray on white wide receivers too. Damn, man.
But Adam Thielen didn't even want to go there. He wanted to get released and go to a team that had a better chance to win. They claimed him and forced him to play, and he's like, well, I guess I'll show up for work.
I didn't know that. They claimed him?
Yeah, they claimed him off waivers. Because the Vikings released him, and the thing was like he wants to play for a chance to win a Super Bowl. And then the Steelers claimed him.
I'm disappointed.
Technically, still has a chance. Technically,
Caserio. Well, no, Caserio. They didn't. Lecky Fotu was not a waiver claim, right? He hit free agency and then they signed him. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
Did I hear it correct? Like, forgive me for not perusing the Pro Bowl rosters. Did I hear it correctly? Did Tirico say that Ben Skoranic's a Pro Bowler?
Yeah, special teamer. Yeah, he was just
Wow.
Former hashtag Texans legend, Ben Skoronic.
That's right. That's right.
I'll never forget where I was when they traded for him in the middle of the summer.
Domer. Fucking Domer, man.
Oh, that's why you care about him.
Yeah.
He's
because I'm loyal. Because I'm loyal to my squad, my school.
He was a solid. I mean, he probably could have made it in front of Mechie if we're being honest. They just
well, Landry said what I didn't want to say. They kept Mechie instead of him. He was a better player.
Yeah, I mean, they probably could have done that, but you had to see how that worked. So that's what they decided to do, and it is what it is.
Didn't see this coming. Didn't see us adjudicating the Texans' carear of Ben Skowronek at the end of the pod here.
You never know what you're going to get here on the Texans.
But here we are.
You know?
Yeah, we got playoff football. Let's lay out the whole 30 for 30.
Well, I tell you what, I bet you Ben Skowronek's name comes up on Friday when Frank Ross strolls to the podium.
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And on 5 Reasons I Hate You on Payne and Pendergast, I'll find a way to hate Ben fucking Skowronek by the time we get to Friday at 8:25.
Rick Ross will mention Skowronek. He's obviously gonna. He's actually, and he's gonna talk about that old ass dude that they always.
Oh my god, I hate him.
The coach?
Yeah, the guy chews probably 12 packs of gum a game. Like, yeah, that guy.
Oh, fuck that guy.
The special teams coach has been there for like 30 years, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Danny Smith.
That sounds like a special teams coach.
I hate Danny Smith.
Why? Because you see him too much?
Yes, because he's overexposed.
They put him on too much.
The opposing team can muff the punt, kick it around, and then a Steeler can like accidentally pick the ball up, and they cut to Danny Smith, and he's like,
I love that you hate him.
I hope somebody Chris Boyd's Danny Smith.
Jesus Christ.
Shoves him, not the other way. Not the other way. Shoves him. Shoves him.
Okay. I was going to say. Okay.
All right, boys.
Yeah, you got to be more specific there, Cody.
I know.
There you go.
All right, fellas. So Landry, you on tonight at 10:30?
Yes, sir. I am on tonight, 10:30. It's not going to be a post week. We'll look ahead to the Steelers a little bit. I believe Sean will be prepping his girls flag football knowledge for tomorrow.
Hell yeah, brother.
That girls flag football, love B, volleyball, and getting those fucking cannons ripped out for any field goal under 30 yards. That's my agenda for tomorrow.
Well, you know the difference between a 5'1" and a 6'2" offense.
I don't know shit.
Okay, very good.
All right, boys. So Landry 10:30 tonight on the Locker Room with Landry Locker. Of course, Cody Stutes, Houston Football with Cody Stutes, does a fantastic job. Reggie Atatula, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on In the Loop on Sports Radio 610. You can catch Landry and Cody. Are you guys at Spanky's again this week?
We are. John McClain's coming in. He's rolling posse deep, he says.
He's bringing the posse out.
Yeah. And you know they hate the Steelers. They hate
Yeah.
That'll be good. Playoff Spanky's, baby. Let's go.
Spanky's, let's go.
Where is Spanky's for those who don't know where it is?
Sharpstown, Bel Air, right there, right on the edge.
Right, there you go.
Love it.
Look it up. Put it in your Google machine, as they say. And of course, I'm Sean.
I was like, who says that?
I don't know who says that.
Google machine? Conrad Thompson. Cody knows.
Yeah. No, I've been listening to a lot of Conrad Thompson. I listened to the Brawl for All the other day, and I listened to the Goldberg episode. I've been listening to a little bit of that, the old school ones.
You might as well have said Conway Twitty to me. I had no idea what the hell you was talking about.
He says Google machine also, ironically. Conway
Does
Twitty.
he? Okay.
Oh, yeah, all the time. Him and Dolly Parton, yeah.
Conway Twitty's filthy. Y'all ever heard him sing about women?
You don't want to know what's in his Google machine.
Oh, yeah.
Safe search off when Conway hits the Google
Conway
machine.
Twitty's search engine. Let's look at his history.
Let's see. Let's go to the thesaurus. How many different ways can I say female parts? Good way, Conway.
All right, and of course you can catch Landry and Cody on SNL and this Friday at Spanky's in Sharpstown, Bel Air. They'll be out there, so go check those guys out there as we get ready for playoff football, baby, between the Texans and the Steelers on Monday. So the next episode of the Texans Collective will be on Tuesday. We'll hopefully be celebrating a Texans victory with all sorts of analysis and insight and looking ahead to whoever the next opponent is. A big reminder also, hit us with a like, hit us with a subscribe. Download Prize Picks, and when you do, use that code Texans, and you're going to have a whole lot of fun playing daily fantasy with Prize Picks. You can catch me 6 a.m. tomorrow on Payne and Pendergast. So we are done. We're out of time. We appreciate all of you. Enjoy the full weekend of NFL playoff football. You get to sit back on a Saturday and Sunday and watch and root for what you want to root for. And then when Monday comes around, Texans and Steelers, it's going to be awesome on Monday night. So until then, we'll see you guys. Cody, you know what to do. End the damn stream.